do we leave it as at Joseph underscore A underscore Thomas, or do you want to go by something else, at least for the episode?
No, no. I mean, that's my name, so let's leave it at that. You know.
All right, so I guess to make it simpler for us, our sake, we'll just go by Joe, if that's cool.
Hey, I don't mind.
All right,
Joe is
appreciate it.
okay.
Awesome. And shout outs also for joining the live. I'm gonna fuck this up, but Phoebe with two E's, Lay underscore, as well as Dabo says with a Z underscore HANNNN. So Han, I'm assuming per se. Sounds Arabicish, but that's fine too. There's no discriminating here. Whatever part of the world you're coming from or tuning in from, you're all more than welcome. You know, my English is debatable as far as, it's maybe too New York for some people to tolerate, understand, but I try my best here. I'm only human. But where are you currently located? Not specifically, but per se, rough take,
In
approximately.
Massachusetts, the
Oh,
state of
nice.
Massachusetts. Yeah, yeah.
Nice, nice, nice. Are you familiar or are you a friend of, fan, or of Boston?
Boston Red Sox.
Not Boston, the city, I mean, in general.
Boston, yeah, yeah. I mean, I've been here all my life.
Okay, you're a Boston boy.
I came from Dominican Republic, but I've been here ever since I was like 8 years old.
Oh,
So
nice.
yeah,
Okay. Okay, well, I guess I have a lot of questions for you in that room too, because we don't want to strictly keep it in the sense of just, oh, we're going to talk about, by the way, the little things, pause, the movie.
listen, this movie, man, this movie. We got to talk about this movie, man. I mean,
Yeah,
it's one of the movies that have left me like just with my mind twisting and turning, like trying to understand what was the plot of it all. Who was the serial killer in this movie?
the who
You know what
done it,
I'm
yeah.
saying? I mean, think about it. When they talk about the little things, you start to wonder, okay, what are you trying to say about the little things? What are you trying for the viewer to understand? You
Hmm.
know what I'm saying? I mean, did you watch it without any how do I say
Biased.
well, no, without getting interrupted, without,
Ah,
looking at your phone? Because I mean the movie was boring a little bit.
especially the first hour. It was kind of rough
Yeah,
for
it
me.
was it was a little, a
Slow build
little,
up.
yeah. So some people, they turn to their phone, they forget to listen to the actors, and then next thing you know, the stuff starts getting a little bit intriguing and more important towards the, for the viewer.
Of course, yeah. But
So,
yeah, yeah, touching on that briefly, of course, like I said, well, the main focus of the episode today is the little things starring Denzel Washington, Jared Leto, and I forget his name because I it's a complicated name for me. Rami Malakalakam Mamalubade, whatever.
Rami Malik, I think
Malik.
that's his name. Yeah,
I was close enough then.
and then I guess Jared Leto was the guy that we all thought was the serial killer, or who they try to pin it to.
Jared Leto, aka no one's favorite Joker ever. No one ever
Yeah,
said that at
yeah,
all.
yeah.
Because it's that's funny enough. We'll definitely touch on pause Jared Leto later on in the episode because there's a lot to be said about him on my end at least. I'm not a fan, but I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
watching. Funny enough, uh, you know how YouTube gets sometimes. They kind of read your mind now, especially with like the SEO and everything going on too. They know kind of like what to throw your way to kind of keep you engaged. For like, oh, let me do a video or two. Next thing you know, like 5 6 hours later, I'm still on YouTube, searching up 9/11 because it just looked so tempting.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
I fell into one of those with like
That's the algorithm. The algorithm will
the
bring you
algorithm.
in there.
It knows you too well, especially IG. IG knows I'm a horny boy, if anything, too. So he knows all the models. It keeps my timeline
Yeah.
busy. I'm just scrolling, 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 scrolling. But I went into that loophole with YouTube as far as one of the videos I stumbled upon was the many deaths of Joker.
Mm.
So it was funny because the whoever made the video was making little comments about, oh, survive, survive, survived, as far as like it's implied the Joker died, but of course he lives. We all know that by now. He can't die.
Hmm.
But the one when they bring up the part about Suicide Squad, when Joker dies, in that it's implied. I think
Hmm.
he put like survived asterisk, but he should have underneath. Because again, no one likes that version of Joker from Jared Leto.
Yeah, yeah.
No
It
one
was, it
enjoyed it.
was, yeah. Well, they didn't give him too much. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
He didn't have too much talk in it or anything.
I think he had too much talk, if anything,
Really?
because the point of the movie, the point of this that I'm saying now, especially in this movie, I think Jared Leto gets too much leeway or too much pull per se to say too much of what he wants. So he's gonna go off the script if anything too. Because
Mm.
for me, as Joker, he was corny. He tried too hard, and the whole build-up presentation of his, yeah, there was barely of it, but I think there was, if anything, too much of his Joker, which kind of ruined it for me.
Mm.
But that's besides the fact Suicide Squad in general being overall bad. But
Yeah.
here too, it's like the dialogue was off, mainly for him. He had some really poor choice of wording, like dialogue that made no sense, like trying to seem too dark, too like out there, too
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah. They try to put him like as the bad character in the movie somehow.
yeah. And it just wasn't hitting because uh let me know how you feel about this point because I like the kid Remy. I haven't seen him in anything else but this and Mr. Robot, the first season of,
Mm.
which I liked, but it's one of those weird shows where I didn't get a thing that went on. I
Yeah,
watched the
it
whole
goes off
season
topic. It goes off topic. Like it's weird.
so much. It's good. It is. I can't say it's bad, but it was so good that even though I was confused after 12, 10 episodes, whatever, I tried to watch it again to try to understand. I still couldn't, but I was like, still, I enjoyed it somehow. So in this case, I was thinking for the sake of this movie, I think they should have switched the roles. I think Remy should have been the killer or implied killer, and Jared Leto should have played the straight guy, the cop, because they
Yeah,
were both
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
ill-fitted.
Yeah, they both had the same exactly that's the same persona as you say, like with the suit and tie. All they had to do was put that guy with the suit and a tie and the other guy as the goofy guy. You know what I'm saying? So I
Because
agree
Remy,
with you 100%.
yeah, because at least for me, Remy has more of the face, literally, like to play the goofy, quirky, weird guy. If anything, he could have, and with Mr. Robot as a perfect example, he could have definitely played the darker, like kind of brooding, mysterious guy easier as the implied serial killer. Jared Leto to me is a little overrated, to be honest. I've seen very few things he's been in, and that's enough for me to know and judge. Maybe I'm being biased, whatever, but at least in this case, he could have been the suit and tie guy, the detective that like gets all upset and befuddled about what's
Yeah,
going
yeah.
on and losing his temper like that. Otherwise, like the lesser character, of course, are like Denzel or and Jared Leto because they're the real stars. Um, but yeah, that's the little things which we'll get more in depth into as far as we progress with the episode.
Falling up the steps 3 times. Not once, not twice, but 3 separate times. And then the left wing is like, oh, it was the wind. It was the wind that blew him.
What wind? He's that old and frail? What's he doing as president then?
That's what is a 10-mile-an-hour winds. Can you imagine if that would have happened to Trump? What would have happened? Can you imagine CNN, the Cartoon News Network, and MSDNC would have been having a field day? Joyless Reed and Don Sour Lemon and Chris Cuomo would have been having a field day with Trump falling down the stairs 3 times. But with Biden getting a whiff of wind, we got 10-mile-an-hour winds here right now. And he's falling. Oh. I don't understand this.
He's rolling around like Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah,
I tell you, man.
but cryptocurrency though can be like a whole another episode in itself, and I'll be more than glad to do that with you. So long
Yeah,
as
I
you're ready to
noticed.
tag in.
I noticed we took up all the time on cryptocurrency.
Yeah, that's all fine. It's info we all need anyway. We benefit from.
All right, cool,
But
cool,
another
cool.
thing we benefit from as well too is this film you recommended to me to watch. I remember it came out January ends of towards the end of January this year. The Little Things. It's starring again, as you mentioned earlier, Denzel Washington. It's got Remy Malek. In case you got the spelling there, you can correct me at any given time. Feel free. And also on a lesser scale, not so important because at least to me, he's not that good. Jared Leto. No one's
Yeah,
favorite
yeah.
Joker, as we confirmed earlier. Hopefully, he's not yours. I didn't offend you low key by
No,
saying
no,
it.
no, no, no,
Okay,
no,
so
no, no.
you got another Joker preference, if anything. Who's your
Yeah,
favorite Joker, if anything?
man. The Dark Knight Joker.
Okay, so R.I.P. Heath Ledger, definitely.
The Dark Knight Joker. Yeah.
Did Joaquin doing this thing put him
Joaquin
at risk or
Phoenix.
no?
Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah,
Oh hell yeah. Joaquin Phoenix is like the dark side, darkest side
right.
of Heath Ledger,
I
the
think they
Joker.
go. I think they went hand in hand because yeah, Joaquin was like the beginnings of the makings of Joker, and
Oh
then
yeah, yeah,
Heath
yeah. I
was just
mean,
full blown already. Like,
well, yeah. That's what I'm saying.
yeah,
But if you not to deviate from the little things, but if you go deep into the Joker with Joaquin Phoenix,
hmm
man, that was dark. Like
it was.
how hey, pretty
It
pretty.
it had me worried just because I'm sure you understand because Spanish mothers they can be over dramatic, overbearing sometimes too, whatever too, or exaggerate the truth to their benefits. Um, I had a problem like watching that with my mother in advance, thinking, oh, I watched it in theaters first. When it came out on HBO, whatever too, afterwards, I was like, there's a certain part I can't watch because I know she's gonna feel a certain way about it when he kills his own mom, suffocates her with the
Mm-hmm,
pillow.
mm-hmm. Yeah,
Because
yeah,
you know how they're gonna think low key. I'm trying to send a message to her or whatever. Like, oh,
yeah. Oh, they'll freak out.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
exactly. But yeah, I mean, it's a great film aside though. Yeah, it's absolutely dark. I do appreciate it being dark, full blown, not
yeah.
going like,
No, they did a great job. They did a great job.
or not
That,
trying to
that,
like,
didn't he win
tr-
an Oscar with that?
I
Something?
think he did. I think he did.
Yeah,
I can't remember,
yeah,
but I think he did. But I'm glad they went the R route and like a hard R, morbid R route instead of like, oh, for the sake of movie sales or whatever, it's out there in the mainstream PG-13. That's as far as we can go. No, they actually
yeah,
committed to it and made it an R, so we
yeah. They
benefited
did a
from
good
that.
job. They did a good job.
But going back to again, no one's favorite Joker. I hope not. And anyone here joining us live, if you want to chime in or whatever too, if he happens to be your favorite Joker, no offense to you, but all offense to Jared Leto aside, the little things was something you brought up to my attention. I do remember, of course, it made some buzz as far as like it might have been one of the first big things to drop on HBO Max, I believe.
Actually, I believe this was the first movie that they were gonna release in theaters, and then just went straight into HBO Max. That's what I think was the case.
I believe so, because it had that kind of like mystique built around it, like, oh, is it gonna make it to theaters? Are they gonna like just surpass just HBO Max like they did with the terrible Wonder Woman 84 and actually
Yeah.
risk it in
Oh,
theaters?
yeah,
Yeah,
man.
that was such a letdown, Wonder Woman 2, if anything. But
Yeah.
Gail Godot, not so much. She did a thing in the gold domination suit. I liked that one a lot towards the end, but we had to wait till like 2 hours plus just to get to that one outfit. She looked incredible in. But that's aside that, yeah. HBO Max. I've been a fan low key of it just because I've always loved HBO. I remember growing up with illegal cable, so HBO was always a go to
home
as far as like
home box office. That
home
was
box
the that was
office.
that was their. It's still their name, but they changed it to HBO.
Well,
Yeah,
it makes sense because I mean, saying that's a mouthful every time. Home box office channel every
yeah,
single time.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, HBO Max has been killing it as far as like killing my money's concerned as far as my budget because that's another fucking subscription service you gotta like join up with and do your thing with. Besides the Netflix or Hulu with the live TV, the YouTube, and this, that, the other. I don't know how many you buy into, but I enjoy them all. But again, little things is all right. You brought it to my attention as far as something I should watch based off what you recommended to me. So I'll let you give the actual synopsis, like what the movie's about, and then we'll jump right into it right after too. Like the best way you
So
can describe it, short, sweet, simple, however you want to do it.
so basically, we got this killer. So whoever hasn't seen it, what are we gonna say so that we don't
Oh, well, we're doing spoilers, so that's a given. So
yeah,
in advance,
spoiler
yeah,
alert. We're gonna talk about the movie, The Little Things.
you have
So,
3 months to
but
watch it, so don't cry to us about it.
yeah, yeah. So here's the thing. I mean, the movie's about a serial killer. He kills girls, women.
Yeah,
Um, and we got two detectives, Denzel Washington and Rami Malik. These guys are actually just, well, Denzel Washington supposedly turned crazy
Right.
and all that, and lost his family because he was looking for this killer and never found him. And Rami Malik was actually on the same route, and then went and got Denzel Washington's help.
Right.
Honestly, I'll tell you right now, maybe I'm crazy, but I saw and I thought that Denzel Washington was the actual serial killer.
Hmm.
Just because he was so slick about it.
Everything.
And when the murders happened, he was actually there bringing some type of uh he was in that city bringing some type of evidence or something to the evidence room. I don't know if you saw that part when he's looking at a woman's dress in the evidence room, and he kind of lifts it up, and the lady that's there, the cop lady that's there, she says, can I help you or something? And then he says whatever he's gonna say. I mean,
Hmm.
like I said, there's so many little things that you got to put your mind to it, and you got to open up and look at what he says that makes you believe that he is the actual serial killer. I mean, look at the time where he went and dumped the car. He already knew where to dump the car. He brought it
Right.
into a neighborhood
Hmm.
and threw the keys there. He knew what was going to happen. Like, he was so slick about it. He picked up the clothes from that guy,
Yep.
cleaned it all up like if the guy left. So nobody ever knew where that guy went. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's so many little things that he did to confuse you. And that's the thing that I don't like. Like, there's so many people, like, I talked to this with my son and I told him, he's like, oh, why you think it was him? I'm like, listen, there's so many things that he did. He knew, for example, by the way, that you know that his cops friends actually help him cover a murder that he did. He actually shot a
Yeah.
female that was on there was the only one that could have probably identified him as the serial killer. But supposedly he shot her by mistake.
Yeah.
And then his cop friends went ahead and you know
Covered it up.
hide the
Yeah.
yeah covered it up. And I don't know if you noticed, one of his friends, his cop friends, committed suicide. You saw that part? That all of a sudden,
Uh, the white guy, right? I think the balding
yeah,
guy.
yeah,
Yeah.
one of the guys committed suicide. They were like, "Oh, by the way, so and so committed suicide." Like, okay,
Oh
why
yeah,
are
yeah,
you
yeah.
bringing
Right.
this to the story? Why are you telling us about this? That the guy committed suicide. Well, guess what? He probably felt bad because of that murder that Denzel committed, and he covered it up.
Right. 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 Trying to
So
help him cover his tracks, all that.
again, there were so many things that if you don't put your mind to it
Yeah.
and you pay attention, because of course, right now we live in a world of not paying attention. All of a sudden you turn to your phone, you see a thing, you already lost whatever they were talking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's
It's one of
very,
those you got to commit to it. Yeah.
yeah, you have to, or else you're gonna lose the whole plot of the movie. You know what I'm saying? Like, one of the things that I saw that was very interesting was that at the end he went above and beyond and bought the girl's thing to give
Oh
it
yeah,
to
the little
that
hair thing. Yeah.
yeah to give it to that guy, and then
Hmm.
he goes and burns it all. He burns all the evidence. Like, he knew too much how to take care of things, man. For somebody that supposedly was just a regular guy, a regular
Yeah.
detective, why would he do that? Wait a minute. Why is he not looking for that serial killer? It's
Exactly.
hey,
Yeah. And that's actually great you brought that up because when you get to the end, at least I was able to not put that together. Like, I knew right away, but I did get that immediate feeling like halfway through, like he knows a little bit too much. He knows conveniently enough, like what to do, when, how to approach. And then of course
here's the
when
other.
what's his yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry, because I get excited with this movie because it's. How about when he was driving the truck and he sees the three girls in the car and he's driving the truck
Oh,
and he's like, oh, like, hey, you know what I'm saying? He was like, and he like looked at the girl. I saw that he looked at the girl with malicious intent. I don't know.
it was like a
Maybe I'm
creepy
crazy
smirk.
that
You're
way.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was like a creepy, like whatever type of smirk.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
but go ahead with what you were saying. I'm sorry.
No, no, that's fine. That's fine. No, because especially when you get to the part, obviously, when I think his name was Jimmy in the movie, Remy, the kid,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
when he whacks Jared Leto in the head with a shovel and realizes what he'd done, like one clean blow, he's dead. And then, of course, what's his name rolls up on him, Denzel, and sees what he'd done. Maybe I watched too much Law and Order SVU. I would think they would try to cover each other's thing, like mistakes, whatever, and try to help each other out, but then be at the end like, oh, well, you have to tell, right? You have to like make the captain aware, tell the sergeant, whatever, too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But then it just confirms like what you're thinking up until that point. Denzel has to be the guy that did it all along and just covering his tracks so excellently because, of course, he's got the badge to protect him regardless. He's all like, you know what? Don't worry about it. Stay calm. And again, he utters the thing about the little things will get you caught, the little things will fuck you up, whatever, too.
You saw that?
Yeah,
How he's
exactly.
telling him like it's the little things that get you caught. What? Okay, so you're telling me that you've been doing this shit all along, and you cover your tracks so good that you know about the little things.
Yeah. It's the
So
minute detail. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So you could tell from scratch that he was the guy that just done it all along. Because they said, oh, he's lost his wife over that and this and this and that. But guess what? What's the other thing that they put in the movie? That he went on vacation, long vacations.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another thing that people didn't acknowledge, that he used to go on vacation, supposedly golfing, and all that
Yeah.
other stuff. I mean, it's a movie. It's a movie that people have to watch and just sit there, turn their phones off. Number one, because the moment you look away from the movie, you lose it. You
Yeah.
have to pay attention to the little things. By the way, I was looking for it on HBO Max. I think they took it off already.
Yeah, it's been off. Yeah, I had to
Yeah.
rent it on Prime to actually watch it.
Dude, you should have told
Yeah.
me. I would have, you know, hooked you up.
Yeah, I should have. I thought of doing that just in case maybe he happens to know, but it's whatever. It's for the sake of
Yeah,
the,
man.
for the sake of the content. It's all good. But yeah, uh, getting to that point though, uh, the buildup is very slow in the first hour, which I was already anticipating being like, oh, this can't be that good, or this won't be like enjoyable too, because it's a really slow burn build up to like
Yeah, yeah.
finally the
I
last
think.
hour, everything starts to come together. Like, okay, this is
Hmm.
getting a little better, like entertaining, like more. Did Denzel do it? Is he the guy? Are they even close to catching the guy per se?
Yeah,
And all
yeah.
that.
How about him going into that Jared Leto's apartment? What the hell was that about?
That was so perfectly plotted too, because at first when he like got in and was like doing his thing around like for presumably like 4 or 5 minutes or whatever he had like permitted to him, I just thought immediately afterwards when Jared Leto's at the bar and Remy's
Hmm.
watching him through the window, and all of a sudden he uses the phone at the bar to call the police to tell him that the officer's down at his address, and then
Yeah,
he's already gone. It's like, wait a second. This is like the same problem I had with like every other movie, like Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice, where like Lex Luthor somehow automatically knows what Kryptonite does to Superman out of nowhere. Where like he's an alien that didn't exist here before, and he just
yeah,
put it
yeah.
together like in 2 days. Oh, Kryptonite does this, and we're gonna fuck him up. We're gonna take him hostage or whatever. Like he just knew right away. I thought it was more of that, but then at the end of it, it's like, oh, circling back, like, okay, he knew how to plot all that to make this guy even more guilty. At
More
least to
guilty.
psych out Remy or what his name was too, because
Hmm.
he broke him basically into thinking this has to be the guy. Look at all the fucking coincidences too. He's out there sipping soda while the police are like going through his house to see who broke in or whatever too, or find the
Yeah,
officer that was shot down allegedly too, whatever.
Yeah,
It was really elaborate how they brought everything back together. Like,
oh,
but
I'm
at the
telling you,
end,
if
then
you
you got to
think
start
about it,
recalling things.
yes, if like I said, if you think about it, the reason why they call this movie The Little Things, it was just because of that. All
Yeah,
the little all the little things that you might have missed is what brought you to who the killer is. I would love to meet the writer of this film
yeah.
and just ask him straight up, like, hey, listen, between you and I, who was it? You know what I'm saying? Because they they don't they shouldn't leave people not knowing who the serial killer is unless there's a part two.
Mm, mm,
Because
mm, mm.
think about it. Who is the serial killer then? If it's not Denzel Washington, we know it's not Remy Malik, and we know it wasn't Jared Leto.
Nope.
We know it wasn't Jared Leto. So
Yeah,
it had to be Denzel Washington. It had to
it
be.
has to be. Right, right,
I,
right.
again, if you look at the movie, he
Hmm.
knew, number one, he knew when the first murders,
Hmm.
there was a lady that always used to call the cop for any little reason. The old lady,
Right, right, right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hmm.
apparently that night, that old lady wasn't even there. So nobody ever called the cops. But yet,
Mm.
Denzel Washington was there when the whole thing went down.
Right, right, right.
That's another thing that people don't pay mind to. People don't even they probably pass straight through them. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? But that's stuff that I looked at and I was like, oh, wait a minute. So he knew that old lady that always calls the cops whenever she sees something wasn't even there.
yeah,
So yeah, there's so many things.
yeah. And the thing I did like about the movie is the fact that initially they do set you up to think one way as far as Denzel's concerned, because at this point, Denzel in his career, his age, how many movies he's done and everything, he's the cheat code, kind of like Al Pacino. It's
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
movie might be bad, but Al was great, or at least he kind of
Yeah,
helped
yeah,
it. He helped save it from being trash. Or like, okay, it was just bad, but I fuck with Al. Denzel,
yeah,
same
yeah.
thing too, especially in this part because he plays his part so beautifully. Initially, he makes you think, or he convinces you. Remember that part, like 36 minutes in, he's in his fucking hotel room with the pictures of the fucking victims, and he loses himself in the
Oh,
moment, like actually seeing the corpse, looking back at him,
oh,
whatever.
no, no, no. How about this?
Mm.
How about the dead females coming from the closet?
Right, right, right. From the pictures and immediately coming out the closet. Right.
What does that tell you?
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
Skeletons in the closet.
right? I
Yeah,
was like, whoa, so he is the killer. And then the way they look, the ghost looked at him,
yeah.
and he was just like relaxing.
Hmm.
Like, dude, I'll be petrified. I mean, you got ghost females looking at me. I'm like, oh, wait. He was like nothing faced him.
Yeah, because
So,
when they show that part at first, before you find out towards the end or start putting it together at the end that he did it, most likely, I just thought it was the case of, oh, he's one of those detectives, those like policemen that take their work home with them mentally. Like they
mhm,
can't
mhm.
just leave it all at work or like,
Exactly. That's what you think. That's
yeah,
that. I'll be honest with you. I had to watch the movie at least 4 times,
really.
and the reason with me being, I might be one of those people that whenever I don't understand something, I try to dig deep into it
Yeah,
and,
yeah,
and I study it and I look for little things. Call me crazy, but whenever I'm bored in my house, that's what I do. Like you'll be looking at me reading, tons of stuff regarding certain issues or whatever, and that's me. That's what I do. So when I saw this movie, and it kept me like, what? Who the hell was the killer? But that was the first time I saw it. I was on my phone.
mm,
My son was with me, so we were talking from back to back, and
yeah.
so I had to look at it again by myself. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna watch it again. And
That
when I
makes sense.
watched it, yeah, when I watched it, I was like, man, what was that about? Well, let me watch it again. And it's a long movie.
It is
It's
just
a
over
long
two
movie.
hours.
Yeah, so like I grab little things here and there and I study it and I was like, oh, wait a minute. He must be the killer. He
Yeah,
had
because
to be.
yeah, he has to be most likely because again, like how they throw you off is pretty smart with that part I mentioned. But then you put it back together and it's literally is like we just got to right now, like skeletons out the closet looking back at him.
Hmm.
As far as
Hmm.
his guilt, like it's not even so much guilt anymore because he knew what he did. He knew how to cover his traces. He knew people were out looking out for him too. Because I really appreciate the flashback at the end when they look back at the first girl he killed. And the medical examiner just like looks at it and says, "Oh, she died of multiple stab wounds with clearly like her chest blown out too, with one big ass bullet as well." Everybody covering up for everybody else as best they can because they'll
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah, that
And
was the sad
presumably
part.
under the guise of him being, oh, he was just an officer doing his job, or it just happened a freak accident on the job. That's it. Meanwhile, he could have just been a serial killer the whole time.
Exactly. And he killed the only witness that could have identified him.
Mm-hmm.
Just so you know, again, I might sound a little crazy. After this movie, I looked for real, situations where police officers were serial killers.
Mm.
And guess what? I found one. So I went on YouTube and I typed, police officers that were serial killers, and I found a guy, and I'm like, oh my god, this guy. The guy who wrote the movie might have got it from this guy or whatever, but no, I guess not. It was just me putting two things together. But I'm telling you, that's how I am. Like I'm the type of guy that I will look for stuff, just to verify. Oh, wait a minute. So this is what's going on. Let me see, and I'll look it up and I'll put two and two together and I'll try to see if it's real or not, or what if it's what I think is what it is.
Yeah, you got to think too, like throughout the course of history and before technology got so advanced as it is right now, compared to like when it happened this in the 90s, supposedly, the 80s and such too. There had to be police serial killers out there. And of course,
Oh
they
yeah,
got the badge to protect them. They got their partners, whatever, that's not going to say anything because no one wants to snitch, especially back when. And they can
snitches
get
get
away with so
stitches.
much. Exactly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And they can get away with absolutely everything possible. Well, let's be honest, they can kind of too today still because, long dragged out trials or, bring in all kinds of, not to make it about this because I know it's a sensitive
Yeah,
topic still
yeah. It's a
with the
sensitive topic.
George Floyd and everything too. But this was something that really kind of threw me off. But I was like, fuck, that's a really good lawyer that brought that up. Uh, Obviously, we know how he died, but they were trying to throw in the what's that? The factor, the possibility of, oh, well, he had his face turned when he was being pinned down towards the tailpipe of the car. So he might have just been breathing in carbon monoxide that whole time. That's why
Mm.
he died, mixed in with the part of, oh, yeah, he did put pressure on his
Yeah,
neck.
so they're trying to blame it on the carbon monoxide, not the the guy that was pinning him down.
And then they brought up the fact that, oh, well, no one thought of testing him for carbon monoxide when they had the body there to like examine and whatever, too. So it's just throwing in all these like weird factors that, let's be honest, maybe could have played into it. But then there's the fact that, close to 9 minutes of being like under someone's knee full
No, no,
force.
and there was definitely a force
Yeah,
into the matter. Nobody,
right.
if he died of carbon monoxide, he died because he was forced to,
To
to
breathe that
sniff,
in.
to breathe the carbon monoxide. So,
Right.
it's definitely a sensitive subject. It's something that.
Yeah. And I mean, if we're lucky, we'll see it like underneath. It's already been a year since it happened. And just now, they're like playing the trial out daily.
Hmm.
Who knows when and if that'll end soon enough and with something that'll even make not even justice, of course, but just make sense to even
Yeah,
like put that
yeah.
away neatly per se. But yeah, I mean that aside, that's stuff we don't really need to get into. It's already in the news enough already in our
Hmm.
face,
Hmm.
unfortunately. Um, it does bring me back now the fact that most likely Denzel might have done it because I was thinking initially when they first showed that part when he's in the house. No, not in the house. Sorry, when he stumbles upon his car, Jared Leto, and then he waits for him to leave to go through his garbage and brings it back to his hotel room, goes through it, whatever, too, and finds that one not fully eaten pizza slice. I was thinking, oh shit, that's some genius detective work to fucking put all that together. But then it was just all a part of the little things, building up the
Yeah.
bigger picture to like
Yeah.
steer everybody clear of him and make it seem like this random white guy who's poorly done by Jared Leto, by the way. He's the one that did it. It has to be him, of course. Look at all the evidence.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the freak out his partner too into thinking it has to be him. I'm obsessed with thinking it's just him. We're gonna follow him, tail him all day, wait outside for him at a strip club, and follow all his odd patterns. It has to be him. It has to be him too.
Yeah.
Because
That's what he did. He actually put up a pot and he cooked it nice and slow until it boiled up. That's exactly what he did. If you look at the whole movie, you're like, wait a minute. So he actually did this for this. He did that for that. Remember, he all of a sudden was in the case again.
Yeah.
A case that supposedly almost finished his career.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm pretty sure he was just there trying to cover his tracks.
Because I love the moment of frustration that God, what was his name again? Jimmy Remy, Mr. Robot. Let's make it easy on us both.
Yeah,
Mr.
yeah, yeah.
Robot. When I love now too that we're going into that too. We're realizing, or at least I am now too, the fact that Denzel is breaking his partner mentally into convincing him this one guy has to be the killer. Everything he throws at him, all the little clues, tidbits, whatever too. I love the moment of frustration that Mr. Robot has in the car after they waited for him all day, after watching him take a bus to the strip club and then the bus back, whatever, and he just punches the side door of his fucking car, lets a high pitched out fuck, just to like show how frustrated he is. Like he's
Yeah,
caving in. He can't take it no more.
Of course, because he didn't saw anything from this guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, all he saw was a regular, Joe Schmo.
Mm-hmm.
And then Mr. Washington steps in, does whatever he has to do, right?
Yep.
And then next thing you know, he brings him. He's like, he brings him to whatever he does and does all his crazy stuff and hits him with a shovel.
Yeah.
And then Mr. Denzel Washington at the end brings him the little comb. Hey, guess what? You killed the serial killer. Here it is. Here's the comb. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And now, boom, that's it. Remy Malik, he's like, okay, Mr. Robot. He's like, okay, that's it. We kill the guy. He was the serial killer.
Yeah, he's at peace now.
Yeah, he's at peace. And here's the sad part. People will say, oh, Denzel Washington was just trying to look over him so he doesn't end up like he did. That's what he was doing. No, he was doing it because he wanted to do it. He was backing himself up.
Exactly.
Plain and
of course.
simple.
Yeah. And building up to his frustration, Mr. Robot, throughout the whole fucking movie, pretty much. I like the part because it reminded me of work so much, and I'm sure you, in the past, whatever experience you might have had, like let's say in an office, when he goes to the fat lab guy, and he keeps having like pushback from him. The lab guy's getting like really smart ass with him too, as well as like the fingerprints don't match, and then like he did a test run of prints of himself, and like this guy matches my prints too, so maybe I did it, and you're just looking at the wrong guy the whole time. And Mr. Robot gets up from the desk, he yanks him by the tie, he's like ready to fuck him up, but then just walks out, slams the door, just slowly building up to his fucking eventually convincing himself blindly that's the guy. He offs the guy, and then like you said right now, Denzel sends her the little prop piece from the fucking hair or whatever to be like, yeah, you killed the bad guy, so don't feel bad about yourself, let that ghost go to hell and sleep with ease tonight. You did a good thing, whatever. I mean, looking back at all that stuff, it is pretty genius as far as like the writing, the build-up.
They did a great job. They did a great job, man. I mean, because let me tell you, there will be people in the internet that will disagree with us 100%. Right now, you will look right now and say, Denzel Washington was the serial killer, and people will actually fight you. They will they will be like, no, you're wrong. Why are you saying that? But my opinion was that
Yeah,
he was. And
I'm
if people
co-signing.
really look into it, if people really look into it and pay attention to it, they will go with my decision that he was the serial killer. Plain and simple.
No, I'm absolutely co-signing that with you. So
Cool,
I'm
cool.
convinced too. Like leading up to the end too. Already, I was like, maybe it can be him, or maybe it's not Jared
So you
Leto.
know what? We should do a thing on when you post this on YouTube, and even when you post it on your IG.
Yeah,
You should put a thing. Vote if you think Denzel Washington was the killer. Or it was Jared Leto. Of
yeah,
course, you know that it wasn't Jared Leto. If people saw the
no,
movie, they will see that it wasn't him. He was a
yeah,
nobody, and he actually, unfortunately, he got pinned to the murder, and
yeah,
not for everybody else's eyes, but for Rami Malik eyes,
yeah,
the robot guy. So that's pretty much it, plain and simple.
yeah. And I guess we can't forget to point out the fact that Denzel is, I never took him much to be a character actor because he's kind of always looked the same in everything he's done.
Mm-hmm.
Give or take, like he might switch up the goatee or like a mustache, whatever, or clean shaven, like in what was that? Roots, I think it was. He was in.
Which
Uh,
movie is that?
was it Roots, the one where he was getting whipped and he kept looking back at the guy with
Yes,
the
The
one tear?
Roots. The Roots.
Yeah,
The Roots. Yeah.
like he doesn't really switch up the look so much, but at least in this one, I don't know if he had like a fat suit on or he actually like bulked up because he wanted to, but
No, I think they had him wear like a fat suit or something because
okay,
Denzel Washington's always been on the slim side and
yeah, or
very
at least in shape, which
very in shape
somewhat.
type of guy. Hmm, hmm.
But yeah, it was a very disturbing belly on him. I was concerned. I thought maybe like the old age caught up to him, or if you remember that meme from like last year where like they caught him outside with like the funny mustache and the buck teeth showing a lot.
I don't remember. I don't
I think I forget which red carpet it was, but he was caught out there like in a tracksuit jacket. He
remember.
had like a Fu Manchu mustache almost, but like they really focused on the teeth, which he just happened to be smiling like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And that went around. That was on Twitter for like at least a good couple of weeks or so.
Mm,
But yeah, I thought maybe old age doofiness caught up to him finally, but no. So
yeah, yeah,
I think we're gonna go with just a fat suit or like a fake belly was put on him,
yeah.
and
Let's hope so.
I would hope so, and also for Jared Leto too, because I don't think Jared Leto. Listen, I don't know how you feel exactly about him, but I've had enough of him already by this point. I had enough of him with Suicide Squad Joker. That was bad enough and pathetic enough too.
Has he come with
And
anything else after that?
there was some things he did afterwards. I don't know what to be honest because I'm not keeping track of him. Thank God. But he's done some things afterwards. But
Mm,
I think he does too much, thinking he has to, because it reminds me too much of Robert De Niro, where he's a method actor. He'll get into the role, he'll invest, research, whatever, and become that person just for the sake of pulling off that role properly, which I
yeah,
respect because that's as he's alluded to being his whole career, a thespian. Same with Al, same with so many others too that we could think of, like the greatest of all time to do it, as far as acting's concerned. I think Jared Leto wants to be respected in that realm too, because if you remember when he did Joker, there were the stories about him trying to be so involved in the character and get into that psyche as best as he could. He would send like used anal beads to like everybody in the cast in like a yellow envelope so they would get like, oh, freaked out. It's like, oh, dirty anal beads. I wonder who used it. Oh, Jared Leto. Oh, I hope it wasn't from his ass directly. Or somebody who just like, I'm Jared Leto. Take these anal beads and bring them back to me used. Just give me the plastic sleeve and don't let me touch it. Whatever, just to freak people out.
Oh man.
I don't know. It just seems like he tries too hard, like he did with Joker. This one here too, like I mentioned earlier, like the dialogue, certain lines he delivered too. He doesn't convince me as like a dark, quirky, like
Yeah, he
morbid guy
kind
at
of.
all. He
Honestly, I didn't even pay attention to his lines. I honestly, it's just if you ask me one line that he said in the movie, I wouldn't remember. It was just it was. I don't know. It wasn't like, although they used him as an important character in the movie, I
Right.
didn't pay mind to him. It was weird. I saw him
Yeah.
as just a regular, guy that was getting pinned from that murder. It was
Yeah.
weird. It was a weird thing that they did with him.
Because even in the way he walked as his character was like way too trying hard to look like disturbed or like not
Yeah,
fully
yeah.
there, whatever. It's just like walking with his full chest out, almost falling backwards because he's like walking with like the lower part of his back like too arched back. I don't know. It just seems so weird. Like you can see
Yeah.
from a mile away, it's an actor trying to be instead of okay, that's a good enough character. He's trying to at least subtly per se, but
Hmm.
I don't know. I have issues with Jared Leto. Period. Just ever since he started bitching about, oh, no one liked my Joker, so you're all wrong. You're all mean to me. Whatever. By the way, Mr. Leto, I don't know if you saw Justice League the Snyder version yet at all, but the very much hyped up, alluded to dream sequence that Batman, no, the nightmare that Batman has towards the end of the Snyder cut of Justice League. Um, Jared Leto comes back as Suicide Squad Joker to like redeem himself, and they have this whole little monologue, which is cool. Him and Ben Affleck, it's
Hmm.
cool and all, but again, it's the same thing. You ask me, I'm telling you what what's on my mind, and I'm being
Yeah,
honest. It's
yeah.
just dialogue, lines thrown out there. He can't get it right. It's just not convincing.
Mm.
I clearly see just Jared Leto in makeup with like bad green hair, just delivering lines to try to seem evil or whatever, instead of actually being somebody. It's like The Rock. I, I love The Rock as a wrestler, big fan of his too, but he can easily be typecast into being the big, overly tan guy that's towering over everybody, but it's mainly just The Rock as a firefighter, The Rock as an overgrown policeman, The Rock as like, national security guy, whatever, the Tooth Fairy, whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't see the compromise there is all. He's one of those for me, Jared Leto. It's just
Mm.
he got by in the looks, I think, and it's not so much the hate, but it's like I don't see it with him, and I don't know why he gets like so heralded right now too.
Mm.
He doesn't hit for me. That's all it is. I don't know, but maybe I'm just bitching. I don't know, but still. Um, so just recapping on everything in general too. We seem to enjoy the movie in and of itself. There's no question there. Um, Let me see. What was I going to say? Well, and I do like that, and I thank you for bringing up the fact that towards the very end is when you finally get like a better um, picture put together of everything. Once you kind of pinpoint everything as best you can, is like, oh well,
Yeah.
he couldn't have done it. He was just a scapegoat. Um, his partner's going crazy because he's convincing himself the guy did it, but the guy didn't do it. It's been Denzel all this time, but Denzel's so crafty, knows his shit better than he does. As young as witty as the detective he wants to come off as, Mr. Robot, I mean, Denzel knew all along what he was doing. He's probably a serial killer, period, and he got away with it clean.
Hmm.
And got somebody fully convinced that I killed the guy because he did it, so I shouldn't feel guilty.
Yeah.
And no way in hell Denzel did anything of the sorts. So I appreciate that elaborateness of the movie itself. It's a good whodunit. The first hour could have been a little
A little
faster,
more up to speed. Yeah.
progress a
Yeah.
little more, maybe like take off half an hour because we did get 2 hours and change of this.
Hmm. I
I
I
think it
think
could
that
help
the
the flow better.
dialogue, yeah, it was definitely way too much. That movie could have been a lot better, a little bit shorter.
Yeah,
In reality, yep.
a little tighter would have been, it would have gone over a little better.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Or would have been more, I don't know how many people probably went back like you did, like you said you did, and watched it again to try to get the point. But if it had been like an hour and a half, I think, or just underneath that, I think more people would have gone back to watch it to make more sense of it too. Because it
Hmm.
doesn't
Hmm.
have the best ratings. It's kind of,
No, yeah, like I said, they definitely, one of the worst things was that they made it way too complex. It's the type of movie that you really gotta pay attention to the little things to understand it. And
Literally,
I
yeah.
understand, you know, oh, the little thing. That's what it's about. I'm pretty sure in Hollywood they were all like, "Oh, that's awesome," because they already knew the plot to the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But people that didn't know the plot to the movie, they're like, yeah. So Denzel Washington was a great guy. He helped that guy not become him. Yeah, no, I just didn't buy it, you know?
Yeah. Well, maybe that is a sign of a good movie after all, low key, because they helped accomplish that viewpoint of enough people to doubt it can't be Denzel too.
Yeah,
The
true,
the
true.
buildup is alluding to more. Of course, it had to be Jared Leto, and of course, like you said, he's just trying to cover up for Mr. Robot, who like was going out of his mind, thinking whatever. He had his breaking point with him in the desert or whatnot. But yeah,
Hmm.
maybe that's it. I don't know. But if we have to give this thing a final rating, since you're the guest, I'll let you take the platform first. If you watch the past episode, I'll just run by them real quickly. It goes from I don't like to use the typical stars or whatever too. You can use that if you want, but I'd rather go with emojis in this sense. I don't have the Dogecoins to like toss around and afford like that too. So we'll use emojis in this case. So if we're gonna go with like a 4 out of 4, we'll start it off at a yes. It's perfect. It's great. It's a masterpiece. Whatever. We love it. Absolutely do. We'll praise it. We'll run out to the street with our masks on and just scream as best we can underneath the mask and tell people, hey, keep 6 feet apart. But besides that, watch this fucking movie. It's so fantastic. It's this. It's the godfather of like, crime thrillers or whatever, et cetera, too. If you go beneath that 3 out of 4, it's a which is a very pleasant surprise. It's close, but no cigar as far as being a masterpiece. We can go that route, 3 out of 4 realm per se. That's a ah. If we go down to O, that's a 2 out of 4, meaning it's in between. I'm not really saying it's going to be great, or it was, and it's not
I'll go with
terrible either.
I'll go with that one.
Oh, 2 out of 4.
Yeah, because this movie is not for everybody.
No,
This movie will definitely, if you watch it late at night, you
yeah,
might doze off. You might
it's
doze
easy to
off.
with that first hour. Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, and like I said, if you watch it late at night again, you might go to your phone. When they're talking, you might go to your phone and see what's up on the gram. See what's up
Yeah,
on YouTube. And it's a movie to watch, but I will go with that one. Um,
2 out of 4.
2 out of 4.
All right, so in the middle ground. All right. So
Yeah.
just because, not because you're a guest, of course, but to be honest, I try to be as best I can every episode.
Yep.
Because of the elaborate buildup towards the end,
Just
but
no, just because the
yeah,
startup was very slow,
yeah,
um, and because they made it way too complicated for everybody else to understand who was the actual serial killer, and not only doing that, they did a plot where they didn't want you to know who was the serial killer. They just left it at that. You
that
know what I'm
too,
saying?
that too,
So
that
in
too.
reality, you and I could be wrong. You and I could be making a huge mistake, and we're probably going to have some, people in the near future looking at our video and saying, "Look at these guys. They thought Denzel Washington was the killer." You know what I'm saying? And who knows?
Yeah,
Maybe Denzel Washington will see this and maybe comment on it and say, "Hey guys, yeah, you got me. It was me." But you never know. The way they did this movie was just way too complex for you to actually understand who the serial killer was, uh, what was his MO,
yeah,
why he did it. I don't know.
and
I
no, and
go,
and that alludes to nowadays too, how there's so much music out there. There's too many movies being made, series, all that too.
hmm
No one's gonna have the patience to go back and watch this again and again and again if they need to,
yeah,
because they're
yeah,
gonna try
no.
to go on to the next thing. Oh, I don't get it the first viewing. It's not good. I can't tolerate it. No, how am
Oh,
I gonna
some
recommend this?
some exactly. Some people don't have the patience to watch a movie and then recommend it to their friends.
Yeah,
I'll be honest with you again. I recommended it to you because I wanted to bring this up about the serial killer. I want people to maybe come back and comment on your blog and comment on your YouTube channel and on your IG and say, yo, that guy that you had on there is crazy. Why is he thinking that Denzel Washington was the killer? And I want them to bring some elaborate points and say, this is why, we think Denzel Washington wasn't the killer.
Yeah.
Maybe bring some type of controversy to change me from that point of view. Maybe maybe I'm wrong. And that's why I told you, I would love for you to see that movie, and I'm glad you saw it. And now we're talking about it, and again, I agree with you on those points on how to rate it. That's an awesome rating. You should keep that for all your movies. Is that what you do?
Yeah, put it at the very end. I do that, try to explain and elaborate whatever to and such.
That's pretty good.
I'm gonna go ahead and agree with you. I'll bite that bullet, just like the white girl did at the very end, from Denzel, because he had to cover up his tracks. It wasn't him, allegedly, whatever. We'll go with that. It's Denzel. He's never guilty of anything besides, killing it as far as the job he did, literally, per se, or on film, hopefully. But yeah, I'm gonna go with you. I'm gonna co-sign. I'm gonna ride that bandwagon and everything too, and I'm gonna say 2 out of 4, an O in between. It's not terrible. It's not bad at all.
Excuse me.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Hopefully,
it's not Corona.
And hopefully, it's not Denzel passing you a glass of water to choke on.
Oh.
But because we know not to trust him that much now. But but I'm gonna go 2 out of 4 as well. Oh, because the build up, the first hour was gonna lean me more towards this can't be good. And then Jared Leto hasn't shown up yet too. It's gonna get worse. And then Mr. Robot's kind of like too stiff in his role right now too. He could have been the creepy guy instead. Why isn't he the killer? Nothing's going on. But then hour 2 kicks in and it gets much better. Everything starts coming together, makes much more sense. That's where they start to throw you off a little bit, not so much. But then at the very end is when finally, okay, fuck, it has to be Denzel, at least what we think. Or other people might go, no, it had to be the guy that got killed, because why wouldn't he get killed like that? It wasn't Mr. Robot's fault. It wasn't Denzel's fault. Yeah. And also, Denzel, of course, as we mentioned, cheat code. It's easy to fucking love everything he does, or at least appreciate it. Did his job well done here too. Mr. Robot is. I'm kind of in between with Mr. Robot. Like he was. Again, I think honestly they should have switched roles. Like he should have been the pinned potential serial killer guy, and then Jared Leto should have been like the who cares about this fucking cop because we care about Denzel and the killer only, or the alleged killer whatsoever.
I agree with you 100% on that one. Definitely.
It could have worked better that way, but yeah, I'm gonna go with that just because again I like the build up towards the end. It ends off on that variable factor of Denzel. Was it Jared Leto? Who knows? Are we wrong? Are you right? Whatever. I think I can appreciate that about a movie nowadays too, because it's more about like trying to get anyone viewing. Hopefully, someone understands. It builds a fan base. It builds a cult following of some sorts too, because people are ready to jump onto the next thing and see what is on the watch list, the queue, and all that too. But yeah, I did like it overall. So okay, I'm gonna stick with 2 out of 4, just like you did. We'll leave it at that right there. That's the little things. And you know what? I don't know what else. But yeah, we made it to that time of the episode now where, listen, I want to afford and give the floor to you to actually promote whatever you got going on, your IG, anything else you have in mind too. Feel free to go ahead and do your thing.
So, like I said, right now I'm actually building a website called AIStocktrend.com. That is AIStocktrend.com. That is artificial intelligence. Stocktrend.com.
Okay.
Basically, that website, we're building it now as we speak. Is going to have all the ins and outs of the stock market. It's going to bring you to what stocks are trending, which stocks are not making it, what stocks are going to make it, what now that cryptocurrency is big, we're actually going to put some of that into the website as well. But anybody that wants to join is free. And also, if you want to join the Moneymakers Discord group, you could go to my link, and it's Moneymakers Discord group. It's totally free. you join in there and you can just be part of the group, be part of the money makers where we talk everything that has to do with making money, plain and
Nice.
simple. Hmm.
Nice. And yeah, like I said, and you can trust, I'm not going to just put anyone on here. I'm not just going to go click any random link in the bio just because I feel like it. I went through your post. I appreciate every bit of info you shared up until now with, the
Thank you.
Bitcoin,
Thank you.
cryptocurrency, all that too. So you absolutely check out at Joseph_A_Thomas. His link in the bio, as he said right now, to check out this Discord channel to get, I don't want to say insider tips because that's illegal apparently, but
No, no insider
insight,
tips.
insight.
Yeah, more in depth on
Yeah.
cryptocurrency trading and stock trading and all that and investment.
Yeah.
Like I said, we're not financial advisors, but we are a group that strive on learning, on how to invest and how to make money on the stock market and in the crypto world. So, just follow us and we'll definitely help each other out. Not necessarily me, but everybody in the group, they're very elaborate. We help each other out all the time. Somebody that just joined the other day will come up and say, hey, look at this particular stock. It's moving. And then next thing you know, we all jump into a stock that is making, 100% return. So it's a very nice group. We're very, how do I say?
Cordial.
Yes. We're not offending anybody. We're not, making jokes or we're a very cool group. It's like a family type of thing. The moment you join, unfortunately, our bot is not active yet, but the moment you join, you're gonna get, like a welcome and hey, you go through the channels that we have, and you will learn tons of stuff. It's pretty good. It's a pretty good group.
No, it absolutely is. And like I said earlier too, I joined. Definitely, I encourage everyone else who's curious about more insight on that kind of stuff. Please feel free to join as well. I'm gonna try to be more active because again, I'm like virgin with all this stuff too. I just barely spread my legs and it's bleeding now. So I'm trying to make it stop, so I can fully appreciate the fact that hey, you're giving me everything right here too. Let me take it all in and get used to it and get savvy, hip to the game per se. But yeah, I'll be active on that realm too. Again, make sure to check him out here too at Joseph_A_Thomas as well as AI. What was the site again? I don't want to get it wrong.
It's AIstocktrend.com.
Stock Trend.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Definitely. like trending AI stock trend.
Yeah, definitely let me know when that's up and running or when you're
Yep.
more comfortable with sharing so I can gladly promote you. I'll do whatever I can to help you out.
Well,
with
right
that too.
now we actually have the IG,
Okay.
so it's AI stock trend.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So there's the IG page on it, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
Awesome. But yeah, we'll definitely do our part. My part at least too. I'm just one guy here with me and my fucking hat. But I'll do
No,
my
let me
part
tell
to
you,
promote.
I gotta tell you this, man. I'm
Yeah.
not the type that go onto people's IG to talk live or whatever. But honestly, I think you have a great content. When I saw you first, I think you were promoting it or something. I'm not sure who was promoting it, but I saw it and I was like, man, he's actually talking about movies. Like, there's not too many people out there that talk about movies and what they think about that movie or eh, and I think that is a great show and I really thank you for it and I
Thank you.
say to you, keep on doing what you're doing, man, because like I said, you might not see the results now, but eventually you will have a fan base big enough that you will say, later on, you're going to say, wow, I remember I started, with maybe 2 people looking at my thing. But I'm telling you right now, all your stuff is very, very good and entertaining. So keep on doing what you're doing.
I appreciate that, man. I really do. And yeah, anybody else out there too that does the same thing, share, whatever, comment, whatever they got to do to just contribute to me. I don't want to say building in a selfish sense, but building as far as like being able to do more with this, spread the word, and get out there more. I just want to entertain as many people as possible. That's all. Honestly, I'm trying to do. I want to
You're
share the
doing your thing.
wealth. Exactly. I just want to like if you're having a bad day, I made your life for something stupid I said or whatever idiotic point I might have brought up, and then
So
I
you
have you
see
forget about whatever happened.
right there, Plug Wave Music just said 100%
Ah,
right there. So
yeah. Plugway Music. Always shout outs to them. He works a lot with a past guest I had too, Joey the Kid up in Troy, New York as well. Shout outs to him always. I'm always keeping on tabs with his new music. He's awesome, very talented, and I'm sure he's gonna go very far too. If you're into hip hop rap and all that, the modern day version of it,
yeah.
I strongly recommend Joey the Kid and everybody else. Plugwave Music links up with and works with. He's got a mean roster of artists going on there too.
Nice. I'll follow him right away, and I'll definitely put him up on my thing. I mean, I don't got too many followers, but people definitely chime in, and
That
they
you
they.
got more than me. That's a given.
But
But yeah,
definitely, man, I appreciate it. I really do. So
no,
thank you for this live, man. Thank you very much. Again, it was great talk.
yeah,
Keep doing
definitely.
what you're doing, and I'll be here. Whatever, just let me know, bro.
But it's out there. It's taking over. Wherever you look, it's in front of you practically. It's white privilege, for God's sakes. Oh, fuck it. Spurts.
And for everybody else who's still tuned in, I appreciate you very much so from the very depths, even deeper than my heart. If it can go, pause by the way. If it can go down to my guts, I'll leave it at my guts, because I don't want to go any deeper or further down than that. My nutsack, because then that's too involved. We're TMI. It's going down the route of fucking Governor Cuomo, allegedly, of course, and or whatever other dirty stuff these old dirty ass politicians are doing out there. Because they're talking about this, they're talking about that. Biden, according to the news early today, made like a racial remark of sorts to like the Japanese prime minister, and now supposedly Japan's supposed to be up in arms. When they're too busy not holding on to samurai swords and shit. Allegedly, I'm kidding. That's a bad joke. But to be up in arms about what Biden said allegedly too. Enough of that. Let's make it drama free. Let's all mellow out. It's Friday. It's late already. It's almost midnight for God's sakes. Had a fun time here with at Joseph _A_ Thomas talking about the little things. Pause. We're not talking about circumcisions or anything of that sorts too. Like I said, no genitalia talk here unnecessarily. Of course, it's not like I'm gonna have you paint the fucking what do you call those guys? The ones that draw the fucking pictures for the police and shit. The police sketchings. So we're not going to do police sketchings of mines or yours or nothing of that realm. Not at all. But, if it comes up, pause, it will come up and it'll be up and stuck. Just like this episode will be up and stuck here on IGTV right as soon as I'm done with this live, right afterwards. And then also in the coming week, I don't know, give it a couple of days, whatever, too. It'll be up on the YouTube, again, youtube.com/who this is one, as well as your podcasting platform of preference. It's got to be Spotify. It might be SoundCloud. It could be iTunes. Maybe even if you're up to it, it might be Google Podcast. And if BlackBerry, if anyone still has one of those things with a physical keyboard or whatever, too, the buttons, I miss that fucking phone. If BlackBerry has a fucking portal, I'm there too as well. I made sure to do the research and dig and dive, like a hard-nosed vet would, like a fucking bloodhound, all up in the scene, ready to fucking dig whatever fucking clues I need to make you guilty of enjoying yet one more episode, live, pre-recorded, later up on YouTube, the podcasting realms, whatever too, who this been watching, which you've been doing by watching me live right here. Me, that's who. Who this is one on all platforms, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram. Obviously, you're watching live right now, so of course Instagram, you know that by now. But listen, we got Who This Been Watching. Again, live every Friday, 7 p.m. normally. Today we made an exception for our guest at Joseph _A_ Thomas, for the sake of that's when he had free time to do so. And thank you again, Joseph, for the spare time to come on here, do your thing, and talk about the little things. Pause with us too, starring Denzel Washington, Jared Leto, and motherfucking Mr. Robot, Remy Maliki Pussy. I don't know what his name is. I'm sorry. You know, no offense to him, but he's a good guy, great actor too. But I keep fucking up that name. Maybe consider changing that before you make it fucking in Hollywood and become famous. You know, think about the little guy right here. I'm trying to fucking pronounce the name as best I can respectfully, but I'm butchering the shit. But whatever. That's besides the point.